Alright people, so we're riding the Suzuki Intruder over here, and I have to say, look at how beautiful my bike looks. I love these Rizoma mirrors. But we're not here to talk about them, we're actually here to go ahead and do a review of the Suzuki Intruder 150, which has been one of the most requested bikes on the channel. And guess what? Today is the lucky day. Alright ladies and gentlemen, it's finally that time when I've got my hands on the Suzuki Intruder 150. This has been a bike that has raised a lot of curiosity amongst bike enthusiasts all across the country. And I have to say, the position, look at where my foot is. Just take a look at that. It's so weird to shift gears that way. It's going to take me a while to actually get used to it, if I'm being completely honest. But this bike has a much bigger feel than what you can make out by looking at photographs on the internet. It has a more premium feel. If you look at the tank, the finish, the paint job, all of it is very well done, and I have to give kudos and props to Suzuki for that. Now, as some of you might know, the bike shares the same engine as the Suzuki Gixxer, which is a 155cc single-cylinder engine which can produce about 14 bhp of power and 14 newton meters of torque as well. Now, of course, this engine is mated to a 5-speed gearbox, and I think the delivery of it is real smooth. The bike does not come with fuel injection as of right now, but they're planning to change all of that in the future. I have to say, this bike feels really big. The only similarity with the Gixxer is, of course, the engine and nothing else. They have tweaked a lot of the performance and the body parts of the bike in order for it to be like a modern day cruiser. So for instance, the suspension has been tuned quite specifically for this bike. It has telescopic forks in the front. On top of that, the seat height has been lowered by a good 40mm compared to the Gixxer, so that shorter people can find it easier to ride this bike as well. Now, looks wise and performance wise, people are mostly going to compare it to the Bajaj Avenger 150 or the Bajaj Avenger 220, both of which are, by the way, priced lower than the Suzuki Intruder. This one comes in at about 1,16,000 rupees on road in Bangalore, and that is one of the most expensive prices all across the country, but that is how it is when you're living in Bangalore. Just can't help that. The turning radius of this bike isn't all that great, and I keep putting my feet at the wrong place because I'm so used to riding a naked bike and not a cruiser. I don't think even the Bajaj Avenger has this kind of an aggressive, or should I say relaxed, cruiser position wherein your legs are that far out. Just take a look at that. It is bloody ridiculous. It definitely takes some getting used to. And speaking of an Avenger, there it is, right there. Now, of course, the Suzuki Intruder, just coming back to the comparison, has some features which the Bajaj Avenger definitely does not. For instance, this bike comes with ABS. Even though it's not dual channel ABS, it is still better than having absolutely nothing. It's single channel ABS, and I think so far from what I can make out, it gets the job done sufficiently well. Now again, comparing it to its cousin, the Suzuki Gixxer, this bike weighs in a good 14 kgs more. It comes in at 148 kgs, but I have to say that the weight is quite well distributed, and you don't really feel it while riding it in the city, while taking it around corners, and while navigating the kind of traffic that you're likely to find on the roads of any city. However, I don't find it very comfortable to ride. Maybe it's just me. I've not really been a big cruiser guy to begin with, so maybe I'm finding it a little odd, but I have to say, I wouldn't really necessarily dare to throw this bike around corners or to get aggressive with it as far as filtering and traffic is concerned. Maybe different bikes have different purposes, and you can do that with a naked street bike, but definitely not with this, at least if you're not experienced enough, which I clearly am not as far as this bike is concerned. Now there's the Avenger again. If you look at the foot position of that guy, it's not as forward as it is on this bike. Just something to be aware of in case you're wondering how the Suzuki Intruder compares to the Bajaj Avenger 150 or 220. Okay, I think it's time for me to hit a U-turn again and check out the turning radius. And again, I'm trying to put my feet in the wrong place. Oh my god, this is so funny. Now, of course, the Intruder, for those of you who don't know, is actually a derivative of the Intruder 1800, a bike that actually Sallu Khan has. Yes, हमारे भाईजान के पास भी यही bike थी. ये वाली नहीं, Intruder 150, because I'm sure if he sat on it once, the bike would probably not move or be the same ever again. But the Intruder 1800 is what he had, or maybe still has. And this is a much younger, a much smaller sibling of the same bike. There were a lot of legends and myths about the Intruder 1800. They used to think that that is one of the bulkier, meaner bikes of those times. Well, no such problems with this one. It is a fairly small bike. It looks big, it looks muscular. It sometimes even handles like a fairly monstrous bike, but in reality, I don't think it is. All in all, I'm still a little on the fence about the Suzuki Intruder 150. It has definitely impressed me with its build quality, its styling, its finish, but I'm not so sure what kind of an audience would be going wild for the Suzuki Intruder. This is definitely not going to set the cash registers ringing for Suzuki. It's not going to become the next Bajaj Pulsar or the next Suzuki Gixxer. However, somewhere I think it will find its own niche, because it does get a lot of attention. It does get a lot of people looking back and taking a second look at it. And there's a healthy majority of people in India who want that attention from the machine that they're riding. So especially in tier 2 cities, towns, maybe in some villages as well, the Intruder might do well. And amongst the business community who travel a lot on a daily basis, the only time that they get to attract attention is when they're on a bike, a lot of those kind of people might go in for the Intruder as well. But apart from that, I don't really see too many other people going gung-ho about this bike. But more importantly, what do you think of the Suzuki Intruder? Do you like it? Do you think it's weird? Do you think it has a place in the pantheon of Indian bikes? Let me know in the comment section below. But for right now, if you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button. And if this is your first time around at the Savant Life, don't forget to subscribe, because it only takes a second. And while you're at it, also click on the bell icon so that you can be notified when I put out more new videos. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care, ride safe, be good. Oh my god, I'm not kidding, guys. After riding the Intruder, my bike feels so comfortable. It feels so amazing. The riding posture, everything just feels so incredible. आखिर अपनी बाइक होती है यार, नहीं? But anyways, in all seriousness, I think, oh, look at this. Was that an Indian? I think it might have been. But anyways, to conclude the video, I think the Intruder is for a very, very specific kind of a crowd. Again, I have to say this, I'm not a big cruiser fan. I mean, I'm a cruiser fan, but I really like those super old school Harley Davidson kind of cruisers, which you ride just wearing a vest and one of those topi helmets with tattoos all over your body, long hair and all of that shit. The modern day cruiser, which basically looks like it was made from the remains of a crashed spaceship, I'm not such a big fan of that. And that's what the Intruder looks like. But again, looks are very subjective. It depends on person to person. However, I just have to say that it wasn't really my cup of tea. But in spite of that, the bike is very well made. It's very well built. The fit, the finish, the quality, all of it. And I think at 1,16,000 rupees, it is a pretty good deal. So that is something for you to think about, just in case you're out there in the market for a cruiser that doesn't look like anything that anybody has ever seen before. Think about it. It may be a good thing, or maybe not.